That's a good day if you're not listening to Five Finger Death Punch.
Someone's got to do something about that band. I mean, I can't anymore.
I'm just glad I've never been to a festival where they're there.
Oh, it'd be brutal.
Yeah. And it's funny because they're such a mainstream band that you would expect, them to be promoted in all these festivals, but they're not. At least not that I've been to, and I haven't been checking lately. But anyways, I'm gonna just
Yeah.
give you a quick rundown. We're live right now, but it takes a while for people to come in. My live streams tend
Yeah.
to be that way. So it's like it probably is always towards the end when I'm about to leave, like there's like 10 or 15 people, like, wow, you're coming now. It's
Yeah,
always
of
like that.
course, right?
But the way, regardless, I thought this would be great since you've never live streamed. Let's just go ahead and oh, there's two people there. Oh my God, there's two people in, and it's barely now
Look at
showing me. Okay, sometimes it is a little slow. Hey
yeah.
everyone. So let's see. So let's say hey to Kevin. What's up?
Fucking
What's up, Barney? Fucking Slayer. Yeah,
Slayer! First one of the night.
your people right there. Yeah, I know those are your people. But anyways, so just a quick rundown. It's just like let's just you and I talking, and then I'll go to the comments. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
not a big platform on here, so we're gonna get to like almost every comment. So it's not, you know. But anyways, it's
Okay, that's
finally nice
awesome.
to meet you. What do you want to go by? Do you just want me to call you
Yes.
Madman?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure you wanted your actual name. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I guess, I mean, my name's Joe, but whatever you want, it's fine.
Joe the Madman. Okay.
Joe the Madman. Joe the
Yeah,
Mental Patient.
Joe the mental patient. But it's great. This is your first live stream, right?
Yeah, this broke the ice now. I'm like, why am I not doing these on TikTok? What is wrong with me? What
Yeah.
was I worried about?
Well, TikTok is a little different than here on YouTube. So, TikTok you get banned for everything.
Oh,
So,
really?
YouTube you really do I've never I mean, don't get me wrong, I've gotten trolls where they're telling me to
Yeah,
go die or that I'm ugly and it's like nonstop. And then once they see like I really don't pay attention, they just leave. So,
right.
so it's just stuff like that. And then the thing one time I did address to the trolls, I'm like, you guys realize the more comments you post, the more my video gets pushed out and people will see me, right? And
Yeah,
I
it's
know
helping you
it's
out.
yeah, it's like they're helping me out and then it's slowed down. It completely slowed down.
Oh, wow.
But okay, so let's go ahead. I thought a perfect way to start is what was the first show you ever been to? So obviously you're the guest. I want
Yeah.
you to go first.
Okay.
First
Yep.
show, first
My
concert,
first
anything.
my first concert was a metal concert. Was Testament,
With
Long
who?
Island, New York. That's where I grew up, and it was during the Low tour, which was
Wow.
sick. And like '94, so metal was in so much trouble. All the bands were dying. Steam was
Yeah, the
dead.
grunge era, right? It was the grunge era.
Oh, yeah. And then Chuck Billy comes on stage and he's like, the record label told us to sell out and play some alternative music. And he's like, we only practice what we preach. And we all went insane. It was like the whole place exploded. And
Mhm.
they just killed it. And from that on, I was like, I got to go to as many of these shows as possible. The hardcore band Downset opened up. They were pretty good too.
Mhm. All right. So what was the band again? I'm sorry because you cut off before. So it was
Yep.
Testament. Oh, who?
Yep.
Oh,
Testament.
okay. All right. All right. Because as soon as you said the name, I was like, oh, okay. So I just want to make sure. Yeah, I think mine. Okay, mine was because you went through like the 90s was hard for metal music
Yep.
as well as maybe what the late 70s when punk and disco came in. So
Yeah.
they
Cause,
went through a couple of hard eras, but that was the great thing about this music. It always comes back.
yeah.
Unlike the other ones, you don't see grunge coming back. It
None
lingers,
of it
but
comes back.
it's not like disco didn't come back. I mean,
Nope.
punk has always been around, but it's always been an underground thing, They've never tried to be, something big like grunge and disco did. So
True.
I'll give them credit for that. They didn't try to be anything they weren't. So
No, it's true. And it seems like the only thing that happens with metal, though, is like late '70s, everyone got softer, like Sabbath, Alice Cooper, their sound got watered down. And same thing right in the late '80s, early '90s. Even the thrash bands were like, everybody was trying to put out the Black Album. And it
yeah.
just started killing all these bands. And then really in the '90s, like Pantera, like whether people love them or hate them, they were carrying the whole scene on their backs. Like there was Pantera on the charts, and because I don't
Yeah.
count the Metallica like 90s stuff. Like that wasn't metal to me. It was like rock, hard rock.
Yeah. Yeah. But so okay, so let me start with mine. Believe it or not, it was Iron Maiden.
Wow.
So I've been liking metal since I want to say I was like 12 or possibly younger than that. But from like the best memory I could think of was probably like 11 or 12. And even though like I like Metallica. I'm just not the biggest fan, but it was what's
Yeah.
it called? It was off the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. That
Yeah.
one song. That's how I
Oh,
found it. But the mainstream stuff is what eventually makes you find out about the older stuff.
true. Yep.
That's the one good thing about it. Eventually, it does suck in people to like listen to the older stuff. So I just remember that, and then I remember the symphony orchestra one, S&M. I think
Yeah.
it was called. And I was listening, like it was a double disc. So, but then like eventually
Yeah.
I found out about Iron Maiden and all that, right? And in high school, my parents were super strict. They wouldn't let me to go to no shows or anything like that. They're like, no, so you're not going. So I was, I think, 19 when I finally went to my first show. I want to say it was like 2008 around there, and it was with Anthrax opening for them. And this was in Orange County
Oh, sick.
at the Verizon Theater when they used to have the Verizon Theater. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But it was that. But at that time, I want to say he was from Saint Armor. It was a different singer, and I remember the song that really blew up was Safe Home. I can't remember the
Yeah.
guy's name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John Bush.
John Bush. There we go. Yes.
Yep. Armored Saint. That was his
Armor
band.
Saint. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, so I remember that's how I found. Well, I knew a little bit about Anthrax, but that was like the first time. I mean, I knew who Scott Ian was. Like, I think we all know who he is just by looking
Right.
at him. So
Yep.
that was my first show, and that was great. And I remember I wasn't nervous because I've always hung out with the guys or whatever since I was a teenager. I was like a tomboy.
Okay.
But I remember my guy friends were like, "Oh, you're probably going to be the only girl there." I'm like, "Shut up." And they're like, "You're going to be the only girl. Everyone's going to stare at you." I was not. There was families there. There was, but all we had were lawn tickets. So, because getting Iron Maiden tickets are not easy, I've noticed.
Nope.
The 2 times I've seen them, it's not the easiest to get their tickets. They're always at some big arena, it's not like they're, I don't know, at the Whiskey, you know what I mean? They're too big for that. But they're always somewhere like really big. So those tickets are going to be overpriced and like, far away too. So, and I just remember being blown away. The first time when I saw them, I was really blown away. And I just couldn't believe like how Bruce was able to change clothing real quick and move around and all that. And this was before he got cancer and everything. So, but I remember it was really good. The sound was awesome and everything. And the whole show just blew my mind. And it was during the documentary of the Flight 666 too, I think.
Yeah.
It was that whole era, like within those 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I don't think at that time you could get away from who Iron Maiden was.
No, they're timeless, right? Like, look, that band just never stops. The merchandise, the tours, like people care when they put out music, which they've been around since 1980. Like, that's insane. Who stands the test of time like that,
Yeah, and I think they're like the only band right now, to this day, Don't get me wrong, the last time I saw them, I think it was in 2016. It was the Book of Souls tour, and I did notice the sound was different. However, I mean, we'll get to the worst shows in a little bit, and I'll explain why this was bad. I don't blame Iron Maiden. I blame more the arena, but we'll get to that later. So, but yeah, that had to have been my big show, that I went to. And after that, I try to go as many as I could from then on. Yeah.
No,
so
that's
how
a major
old were you when it was your first show?
I was 17. Like, my family just didn't go to I got into metal hard rock because my father, like, he was into Alice Cooper and Sabbath and Zeppelin and that stuff.
Shall not pass.
Shall not pass. Don't let him in. Don't make me put the suit on right now. Heavy Metal Puppy, be quiet. Heavy Metal Puppy's yelling in the background. She wants to thrash.
Oh, is it she? I
Yeah,
don't
it's a
know
she.
why.
I got to do a backstory of her. Everyone calls her a he. They ask all these questions, and I'm like, I'm keeping it a mystery. The mystique of Heavy Metal Puppy. You can't give him everything all the time.
True. True that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I think I don't know like I think out of all the shows, okay, what do you prefer? The smaller shows or the big concerts? What are mostly your favorites to go to?
Yep. I mean, the smaller intimate shows are amazing. Although when it comes to my hero Alice Cooper, I like the bigger the better because the way he ends the show with the balloons and school's out and the place is just going insane and the confetti and everybody's just shredding and it just looks sick. So I guess it kind of depends on the band.
Mhm.
But I know I always loved that small. Like I used to go to the Roxy Music Hall in Long Island where I grew up, and just seeing those bands in there, and it's like seeing King Diamond in a tiny place like that. That just feeling, and you could feel the metal and his atmosphere. Um, I wouldn't get the same feeling at a festival. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be. It's
Yeah.
just different. So
It
it's
is
like I
two
guess it
different
depends.
feelings for sure. Um, it's like I don't mind going to really big concerts or shows or anything like that, but I do believe, it depends on the band too,
Yeah,
um, and how much effort they even put in. Because I've heard, like, the couple of times I've seen Megadeth, they've been great. Don't get me wrong, but I did know, like, last time, I think it was like 2016 or 17 when they were in Europe. I heard they put like a half-ass
yeah,
show. That's what I heard. So it's like, and which sucks because I'm pretty sure who knows how outrageously expensive it is over there in Europe, and you're
yeah,
just they're paying for a festival, what rather be Wacken or yeah, because I know he was at Bloodstock and then it was Wacken, and they
yeah.
all complained that he was just like, yeah, I'm just here to play, basically the feeling he gave off.
He I have such a love hate because I love Megadeth's music. I one of my favorite bands, but the stuff. Me and my brother went to meet Dave Mustaine in Florida one time at a signing, and he didn't care about anybody. Like he didn't take a second to introduce anything. It was kind of like sign and get away. And
Mhm.
then live, they're so hit or miss, right? Because his voice live can be rough sometimes. Like that's why I've
Yeah,
never been a fan of live Megadeth albums either.
yeah,
But I mean, it's an iconic thrash band, right? Like I can't badmouth, even when I'm like busting balls with Metallica and stuff like that. I'm like, you got to give these bands the credit. Like if you didn't have those thrash bands, n- the scene never would have turned into what it did, like extreme music. And
hmm,
that's why I just try. I do like to pick on the albums though where the bands sell out because in hindsight, they age so poorly.
yeah,
Like you wish they just stayed the course during the bad years. And I get they were all trying to make money and the record labels were being psychotic in the 90s, but like the Load albums for me, I can't. And then Saint Anger, like I can't do those albums. And then Megadeth Risk is like it's like Five Finger Death Punch times 10. Like it's ridiculous. I don't understand it.
yeah.
I don't know what they were
I
thinking.
heard some ska in that one and cryptic writings. I was like, is there, because ska was big at that time.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, is this like with Offspring or Zebra Head?
Yeah. You're like, what? I remember that show Blossom on TV, and like the girl on the show was like, "I got tickets to a Megadeth concert." I'm like, "What happened to Why are they bringing this name up on like a major television thing? Like this is
Yeah,
an underground thrash band." And then it's like the whole thing. I can't blame them. Like if you're gonna make that money, why not?
yeah. No, and I think one of my other favorite shows. Okay, so obviously it was a punk show. Okay, let's talk about the most expensive, best one that we've been to that was actually worth
Yeah,
the money. Okay, I'm never going to do this again, but I'm glad I did this. However, there was some shit that pissed me off, and that was the original Misfits back in 2017, I believe, when
yeah,
Danzig announced, he was going to be back. I didn't think I was going to be able to get a ticket. It was at the Inglewood Forum before the SoFi one came about, right?
yeah,
So the Inglewood Forum is okay. It's not like the best thing. Is it's all right. It had its time. It needs to retire. I
right.
think they should just leave it with the Ram Stadium now. Let's see. So it cost me $200 just for a seat. Now, don't get me wrong, at least at the Inglewood Forum, you're not so far away like at a football stadium. It's a nice,
Yeah,
decent, big size. However, I just hated how elevated it was. And I just remember working overtime and I was so tired. I didn't even want to have a beer because I was scared I was going to like pass out. That's how
yeah.
tired I was.
Uh,
So, and I just remember feeling dizzy. And then you couldn't stand up. Everybody was like, all the security was strict. And not only that, you couldn't bring in your phone. You could bring in your phone, but they were going to basically hold it hostage with this fabric over it. And the only way to open it is go to a security guard, and they will take the magnet part off, and then you just take it out of the slip. It looked almost like a koozie, but just all over the damn phone. But I didn't know people were doing this, and I should have done this. Get my fucking keys out, slice it in half, and take it out. That's what I should have fucking done, because I spent $200 on this fucking show just to see 3 bands play.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. But it was a good show. I will admit, Danzig was sick that day. He was, and he was still able to kick it. You know, he was able to do it. It was very Halloween. It wasn't cringe. You know how sometimes there's that boogity Halloween is so childish.
Yeah.
It was like really good 60s psychedelic, you know, just what they're all about, like, you know, horror punk and all that. So basically where the best part is. And Mr. Death Metal, how are you? He said his most expensive, of course, it was Kiss.
They'll get you every time.
I want to know the price. I want to know the price. Tell me.
How much were the tickets? Stop leaving us in suspense here. For me, the most expensive tickets. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. I had to see the show when Van Halen, when David Lee Roth first came back, when we thought like it would never, ever happen. And I went to the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut because they have a venue in there. The tickets were like almost $300. And he came out when Roth's voice was shot, and I did not care. He came out like with his little dance and stuff, and he's like, I told you guys I'd be back, and we went batshit crazy. Like, I couldn't believe I was seeing it. And they opened with Unchained, and it just like kicked you right in the balls. Like, you were ready to go. And that whole concert, I was singing word for word every song, screaming till the end. It's one of my it could be the greatest experience I ever had, because it was a band I never thought I'd get to see with that lineup. And before the later years now, when they were like still trying to do it and things weren't, you know, they didn't sound as good, but it was sick. And the crowd was just going insane for Roth. Like he had him wrapped around his finger. And I know he's a big, like, everyone makes a joke about him now, and like the way he looks and the way he sounds. And I'm like, that guy partied pretty hard back in the day, put out some iconic hard rock albums. I got such a problem when people start going after legends and icons. Like even Danzig. I'm a massive Danzig fan. Sammy and Misfits, Danzig. And all people talk about, like, oh, look how out of shape he is. I'm like, the guy's like 60 years old. Like, the guy's impact on music, every which way you could imagine. Like, and then the hit after the Misfits and stuff when, you know, Mother came out, and that thing just blew him up.
Yeah. I feel like that's affordable for a Kiss ticket, but I understand.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah. 100 seems like a deal now, right?
Yeah. Well, what year was it? I think it also, like, because I'm guessing when they reunited Van Halen, I'm guessing that was when it was like 2007.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I remember he had his son Wolfgang on there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody was like, "What happened to the other guy, Mike, or something?" I was like, I remember that metal show. They're like, why?
Yeah, because he went with Hagar, and I like some of Sammy Hagar's solo stuff, but in Van Halen, I think it sucks. Like, I never saw a band just take that power out of their sound and just lighten up and play. And I get people that like, and this is my thing, like even on videos, like what you like. Like, I'm glad, and argue with me about it. Like, that's fine. Like, this whole thing when people are like, you can't gatekeep. I'm like, gatekeep me right back. You know what I mean? Like, if you could have fun debating bands. Oh, MGK does. He sucks. He sucks. You know, I don't like MGK that much.
That wasn't that bad.
Slayer Farewell Tour was 680.
Well, there was only
Slayer
like 3.
Needs to come back.
Yeah, there was only 3 bands. I think Behemoth opened for them, and I forgot who else.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget who else opened.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal Puppy, chill out. I'd let her in here, but she'll eat all my collectibles. Because she always likes to thrash. She can't help herself. She's always worked up on something like me. She loves when I start yelling. She gets so hyper. She's like, let's fucking tear this place apart. Let's destroy this place. And I'm like, it's my own house. It's probably not a good idea.
It's not a good idea if it's your own house. Yeah. No, but I think, okay, so I think my smaller, let's go more on the smaller of our favorites.
Yeah.
What would have you say, like, would have been your favorite show more on the smaller, intimate side?
I mean, Merciful Fate possibly Deicide that was crazy in a tiny, tiny venue. Again, this is 90s. Once Upon a Cross scene is in so much trouble. Nobody's caring. And they just came out and you were scared when you saw that band, honestly. Everybody's just muscle bound and he's just coming out with the cross upside down. And Glenn that was a sick show. And I'm like, I don't think this would be not as good if it was part of a bigger package, like a big death metal festival or something. Seeing them in that small of a venue. I saw Raven and Anvil in the 90s when there was like me and probably 10 other people there. Like there was nobody there.
Oh
Like it
wow.
was crazy. Like the scene. I'm just thinking all these little shows where like people weren't showing up. Like Dangerous Toys put out the album Pissed 94. I met them. They were pretty cool to meet. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but like they played good. It's weird when it's, I guess from what you're saying, they're like, yeah, Deicide where the place was pretty packed. Like it was small, but it was packed. And then I've had experience where I've gone to a small place and there's like nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, that could be like not the greatest feeling. You know what I mean? Like the band's kind of feeling it and they're making jokes. I went to go see like the band, lead singer from Y&T and Al Pitrelli from, who was in Megadeth at one point, right? And Widowmaker with Dee Snider. And they were doing like just the cover thing. And there was like literally 15 people in the place. But that was really cool because they were just going, what do you want us to play? So it was like, play Purple Haze. And they played Purple Haze, which I was like, this is fucking amazing. I was like 17.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And to have that kind of reaction, like, they're just like, there's no one in the place. You could hear everything. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm torn between Deicide and Merciful Fate because King Diamond in a small place too is, again, that atmosphere is just crazy.
And then at that time, I'm guessing King Diamond and Merciful Fate in general, like, was more smaller venue back then, unlike today.
Yeah, I
Now,
can't believe now where they're like headlining festivals. I'm like, holy
yeah,
shit.
they're either headlining or, I mean, I've never been able to afford a ticket. And if I could afford a ticket for some reason to go all out, I couldn't go for whatever reason, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
I just know they always play at the Wiltern over here, like in downtown LA, and I hate the Wiltern. And that's where Cannibal Corpse is going to play this towards the end of the year. And I'm going to go regardless. I hate the Wiltern, right? I'm going to spend $75 so I could get there first, get my spot and everything and possibly have a beer. Not sure yet. But, I haven't been to a show since I was at the UK because in 2019, when I used to work for Macy's, I finally got paid vacation, even though I was a part-timer, I was happy. I was like, finally, I got paid vacation, right? So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the UK. And I don't know how well you know Big Dan or Little Dan from Heavy Metal Entertainment. They used to be more active on YouTube, but then like with 2020 hit and everything, because they're primarily like a festival channel. So they haven't been able to really do much, So I went to go meet them and I stayed with them and everything. And we went to a show. So one of my favorites had to have been was Beast in Black. So even though I only caught like maybe like almost towards the end, and this was an intimate show. So this was in Birmingham. So not only was I happy to be in England, but then a show in Birmingham. So
crazy.
yeah, so I went there and like Beast in Black was amazing. Now I had heard of their first album and it was decent. It was okay. I wasn't like, all about them, but I liked them. It was an album to go okay time to time. But then they start changing like their own kind of style. Like they noticed like the synth wave was in. Let's mix that with power metal. That is genius because it sounds like a lot of the old 80s like soundtracks to like the Rocky soundtracks or but just
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Just their own way. And not only that, is like they know how to keep up without selling out, I guess is the way to say it. But I fell in love with that From Hell with Love album and everything. I fell in love with that and their new album. So that's what captured my attention. And after them, it was, oh my God, what's that? Isn't that Power Glove? Oh my God, I can't remember the name, but the guy looks like the Green Lantern. Oh my God, somebody hopefully try to remind me. But I remember I hated them. I just could not stand the band who headlined it. But so I guess like UK perspective, them, but here in the States, oh my God, it was the Battle of the Bays in 2017, I believe. It was with Exodus and Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is my mind blank? Why is my mind blank? Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is my mind blank? But Exodus was there.
That's all we need to know. That's all that matters.
Bolt opened up. And right before he died, Power Trip. So that's the first time I saw Power Trip. Oh my god, why is my mind Obituary? There we go. There we go. I'm fucking have a little water bottle of theirs, and I can't even fucking.
And what is going on over there?
I know.
Too much metal. That's what it does to our brains. We can't remember it all. There's too much out there.
Yeah. But that had to have been my favorite, like death metal, little show altogether. I was so tired when I left.
Yeah.
I just was like, I was leaning up against, like, I was just jumping up. I'm not a mosher. I'm not really good at it. Okay. I've tried. Yeah. I'm not good at it. I wish I was good at it, but that don't mean I'm not going to be jumping up and down and moving around. Right. So, but I just remember being so tired and almost dehydrated from that show. I had so much fun, and I'm so glad I saw Power Trip before, Riley died and everything. So, but it was a great show, and I think it was like $30. I don't know. It was like $30 to $40. Yeah. But let's see. Oh, that's Mr. Cool. Death Metal. Okay, so when you went to the Slayer show, you were right by the soundboard. Okay. And your favorite small venue show was Butcher Babies. Yeah, I heard they put on a good show. I've never seen them, but I know they put on a good show.
You know what I wanted to ask you? What's a band that you saw live that you didn't think you were going to like? Because it happened to me. Like, I went to a show and I'm like, this is going to suck. Like, I'm not here for the headliner. Like, I'm not going to do this. And then, you see the band and you're like, wow, they're great. Like, I can't believe it.
Sabaton.
Really? Huh? Yeah.
Nice. Well, because when I went to go see Nightwish in I think it was 2016 or 15, that's when I saw Epica was not Epica, it was Delane, and then Sabaton. But I thought Sabaton was going to come first, and that's why I came a little more later, but it ended up being Delane played first, and I was like, oh shit. So, wow. And it was at the Greek Theater, again, perfect place to be at, it's a good, recently good ticket prices too. So, and I just remember going there and I was like, oh shit. But then up comes Sabaton. Not only was the band great, but they were funny as hell.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And then I just remember, I'll never forget, like, the first show, like, because they made fun of how they look, right? They're like, yeah, we look like the Village People ready to do YMCA. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to sing that. The crowd kind of got disappointed, and the lead singer was like, are you really disappointed that we're not going to do the YMCA?
That's awesome.
So, but he's funny. Every show I've been to, it's like you're going to a comedy show too. It's a great show.
That's awesome.
Them and Beast in Black as well, because I didn't think I was gonna like them live or anything, but they end up being great.
For me, it was I wanted to go see Gojira live, and I was like all pumped to see them. And then the Deftones were headlining, and I'm like, not the Deftones. Like, I'm not going to listen to the Deftones. And live, I was like, holy shit, they're heavy. They're heavy. Wow. The light show, really good interact. I went with my stepson, and we almost missed Gojira too because we were pretty fucking hammered. And then we were like, shit, we were at the Mohegan Sun again. So we're like out on the floor drinking, gambling, and then we're like, this show, and so we got to see like part of Gojira's show. That's all I went there for. So I'm like, I better stay and watch the Deftones now. And I was like, I can't believe it. They blew me away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a band I just don't listen to their studio. It's just not my type of stuff. Like, I have no problem with people that listen to what everybody wants, but not me. And then I was just like, holy shit. Like, I was blown away live. I'm like, they are fucking heavy live.
Yeah. That was the night you hung out with the Butcher Babies at the bus. Yeah, because I know I seen the pictures, dude. Like, you look like you had fun. I heard they're really nice and they'll party with you and everything. So I heard that. That's why I don't really believe like OTEP, like, which is a shame because I liked OTEP for a while. I was one of the first, like, I guess I wouldn't even know what type of metal she is, to tell you the truth. But she was one of the first ones I would listen to back in high school. And then she's over there just like talking shit about the Butcher Babies. And then I forgot what other band, like, she wouldn't let them sell their merch. I was like, you do know that's how they survive, right? On the road.
Yeah.
On the road. Just on the road, So I know she ended up being like a real dick, which was kind of sad. But I know she attacked the butcher's base saying they were doing cocaine. Maybe they were, I don't know, but they kind of always seem like
Yeah.
they kind of promote the healthy lifestyle. So that's why I was like, really? I thought they were like healthy
Right.
promoting, we eat well or something. I don't know, but I could see
Yeah.
them drinking, don't get me wrong. But
Right.
so, but
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you know what I just remembered when we were talking about the small shows, if it's okay?
Yeah.
Is in the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, there's a place called the Wolf's Den, and it's free live concerts. So there's like maybe 100 seats, and you got to buy 2 drinks to go in there. But it's in the middle of the casino, so you could stand outside of it when bands come. And I couldn't believe this. This was the last show. It was the last show of their tour, and it was the last show I saw before the pandemic. Fucking Anthrax, free show at the Wolf's Den. So a place for like 100 people, like thousands of people showed up, like thousands of people. And
Oh
to see
wow.
them that close was fucking crazy. In a casino too, where they're just thrashing, right? And they're just fucking every song, like just killing it. And at that venue, I saw too one time. I was just there randomly on a different day, and POD was supposed to be in the Wolf's Den, didn't care. And I'm walking around the casino, and I hear a band rehearsing. I'm like, it's fucking Corrosion of Conformity. And I go to watch a sound check, Corrosion of Conformity. POD had some kind of problem and couldn't make the show. And then I'm like, I'm gonna wait around this fucking stage for the sound check. There's only one way they're coming out of this venue to go to their hotel room. Like, I want to see Pepper Keenan. I want to fucking meet Pepper Keenan. And I'm waiting around, and boom, he comes out. And I fucking suck when it comes to meeting bands. I could give you stories of embarrassing myself meeting celebrities or bands. And I see him, and I'm like, are you Pepper Keenan? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you guys are really good. And he's like, and I'm like, I'm sorry to bother you. And he's like, we're good, man. We're good. And I'm like, can I shake your hand? I like fucking turned into the biggest tool bag I've ever met in my life. And he was the nicest down to earth guy. And I'm like, I never asked him for pictures or anything, but it's like, I freeze when I meet. It's why I'm afraid to go meet Alice Cooper. Like, I will fucking embarrass myself and never be able to go out in public again. And
No.
I'm like, it's so bad. The worst that happened to me was I met my 2 fucking heroes growing up, Alice Cooper and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And I finally got to meet Cassandra Peterson at Rhode Island Comic Con. And I'm standing online, and I'm like telling the people I'm like, you got like, this is no big deal. Like, she's not even in costume. Like, you're gonna be fine. Like, I feel fine. And I'm waiting, and then all of a sudden I start to see it come out of the back, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't even do this. And I get up to the booth for to sign my autograph. And like, I'm like a fucking little kid. And she's like, what's your name? I'm like, Joe. She's like, Joe, it's gonna be okay.
Oh.
And then she's like, oh my God. And then like, I'm talking about her movies. And I'm just like, you are so, what you've done for like comedy, for females in comedy, like, you don't get the respect. Like, you just get the gothic horror thing. I'm like, you are so smart, funny. And like, we leave, and I'm walking away from the table, and she's like, Joe. And I'm like, what? She's like, you forgot your autographs here. And I had to go like fucking slumping back with all these people watching me, grabbing my autographs. And then I just like disappeared into the crowd. And I'm like, I cannot fucking meet people. I can't. I just can't do it. It just doesn't
Mine
work for me.
is more like, okay, well, I met Dave Mustaine. So
Yep.
I met him during his book signing, not the one with the Rust in Peace one, or that revolved around it. His first biography, right?
Okay,
This was 2009, I want to say, no, or 2010, around there. So, I mean, I already told the story and everything, but I'll say it again. But basically, I mean, it went fine. I went to Long Beach when Borders used to still be around the bookstore, and I went
Yeah.
over there and I met him. He was nice. I didn't shake his hand. I forgot. And I remember I kept telling myself, make sure to shake his hand. And I totally forgot. But I just remember I was like really quiet. And at that time I had pink in my hair. So, and then he tells me, your hair looks so much fun. And I'm like, not trying not to
that's
fucking
awesome.
laugh at it, right? Because I was like, what the fuck does he mean by that? But
What is he
whatever.
talking about?
And I told him, I tried going redhead like you, but it didn't work out. And then he goes, close your eyes.
Nice.
I was like, what the fuck? He's telling me to close my eyes. Like, what the hell? So I closed my eyes. And then I was like, when do I open? Like, it was the longest 3 seconds. So I was like, when do I open them? So then I open them. And then he goes, no, there's a color there for you. Just have to make sure it goes with your eyes. That's it. And make sure it really goes around with them. And I'm like, okay, thank you. He gives me back my book and I leave. And I'm just like, I forgot to shake his hand. But that's, I think, the only time I think from the metal side that I've met, like a metal celebrity or something like that. To tell you the truth, I'm gonna put it straight out there, dude. Like, look, we're finding out left and right, like people, especially musicians, who are like pedophilers and rapey motherfuckers. And I've heard of stories, supposedly girls being taken advantage by them too. I don't like meeting them.
Right.
I will just watch the
Yeah.
show and that's it. I don't want to find out going back there. I really don't.
It's one of those things, right? Like that's the biggest fear is you meet somebody you really like, you fucking worship these fucking bands, and you find out the guy's a scumbag, right? And you're like, oh, they're just
Yeah.
trying to hook up with people,
I can't
or
look
they
at
just
David
treat you like shit.
I can't look at David Bowie the same way anymore after what I found out
Mm-hmm.
that it's not enough Jimmy Page like kidnapped the 14-year-old girl and had her locked up in
Right.
his hotel room, and then eventually he
Yeah.
tossed her to David Bowie and he raped her and forced her to do a threesome. And then I was like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm pro Spotify. Like that's why I'm pro
You're like this one
Spotify.
time.
Yeah, it's like they're like, we can't blame it on the music. I was like, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it didn't affect my life, it didn't help me growing up. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that. But thanks to Spotify, only playing $10 a month, unlimited without commercials, I can still listen to my favorite music. So,
That's all. That's all you
that's
need.
just how I am. I'm not very, that's all you need. So, Spotify sometimes I feel like Spotify was like a huge fuck you to you guys. You guys did a lot of shit. I'm here to steal your pay.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what I feel like it is. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
feel.
it's
But
so
anyway,
fucked up nowadays, right? Like the way these
yeah.
bands too get fucking taken, like, and that's why we don't get albums by a lot of the bigger bands for like 5, 6, 7 years because there's no point, right? They're like, there's no fucking money. It's just a promotion.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking promotion for to come see us live. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. That's
Like
why
the
I'm like
Jack.
vinyl. I'm glad vinyl. That's why I'm addicted to fucking vinyl. I'm gonna end up bankrupt
Yeah.
in the fucking streets from fucking vinyl and all different variants because at least it's like you could pick the fucking thing up again. I can
Yeah.
feel it. Like this is physical. This band put a lot of work into this. Somebody created this artwork. Love the artwork from vinyl, and at least we have that right now. Where I'm just like, that's keeping it alive. Like, because just think, like for a while there, like it was all dead. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's just digital everything.
Yeah. But the one thing, okay, so we're getting off topic. Let's
Yeah, we
get
are.
back on the track.
That happens with me. You gotta like Metal Horror Madman, shut the fuck up. And I'm like,
No,
it's
no, no.
really
I
hard
feel
for
like
me,
I
as you
took
can
it
tell.
off topic to tell you the truth. But no, but like, let's get on to like, let's not get to the worst yet. It was almost, let's go on the ones that it took you a while to like. So obviously I'm wearing the band right now, Motionless in White. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're kind of segueing into like the worst bands and everything. So what happened
Yeah.
was it was Not Fest or Ozfest meets Not Fest, right? I have bought tickets for me and my friend, especially because it was like her birthday gift, right? And this was 2016 around there. It's kind of all blurry, but it kind of all blends in, whatever, right? So yeah, it was like 2016. So I remember I bought it as a birthday gift to her, and then we paid for our own rooms, and she just took care of the gas, right? So that was just how it went. She's a Slipknot fan. I'm not. I slept through that. I was like, I'm not a
Yeah.
Slipknot fan. So
Nice.
so that was primarily why we went. And I was just gonna do Not Fest, and that was when Motionless in White was playing, right? And she's like, no, let's do both
Yeah.
days. I was like, all right, cool, let's do both days, fine. So, and I just remember the whole thing. I'm just gonna say, okay, you know what? Hold on, I'm jumping ahead, but let's stick to Motionless in White. But anyways,
Yeah.
Motionless in White was on the main stage. When you go to these festivals, there's like in the desert, or I don't know how it's like where you're at, but here in California, in the desert in San Bernardino, right? So that's like almost a 3-hour drive out there. So there's all these like, there's these two stages. One band is playing while the other one's setting up, right? So it's like a back and forth thing you're going, right? And then the monster trucks over there, right? So then you got the big main stage, right? Which almost looks like a little theater thing, right? So then you go over there, and I go over there. Motionless in White is the first of the four to go up, right? And I just remember,
Yeah.
I don't remember much because the San Manuel Amphitheater has a bad history with the main band sounding like crap. So it's something with
Okay.
the sound there. So I will get, and I will admit I thought they sucked, but I'm not going to blame them because of what, sound technician or whatever was going on in the background, right? But I just
Yeah.
remember like one of my buddies on here on YouTube, Fat Samurai Guy, we end up finding out we went to that same show and everything, right? He was like, "Yeah, just remember they were sounding pretty good and they got my attention, but then out of nowhere he sounded kind of whiny." And I was like, "Well, that is kind of how he is, you know. There's like a
Right.
little swoop of emo in there, you know,
Yeah.
but then it was like, yeah, the sound was just, like we didn't get it, right? So I was like, yeah, and I think they were just like a totally different sound than what we were used to because Rotting Christ was there, and
Oh wow.
but I just missed them, but they were there. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of bands there. I just remember that were really good. Suicidal Tendencies was there, and
Oh,
then I believe Anthrax and Megadeth were the first night because they were headlining for Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, Black Sabbath, it was their last tour. And
yeah.
then Motionless in White and Slayer and Amon Amarth, and then Slipknot, right? So I just remember, yeah, they were so off. And, leave it to 2020, TikTok comes along, and I'm just hearing all
Yeah.
this music. And I'm like, this is a good band. Like, I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
people hate on them,
Yep.
like I don't understand. I mean, I've heard. So I'm not the biggest fan of metalcore or deathcore, but I'll admit when a band is good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
because I think out of like
Yeah.
deathcore and like in all those bands, like the only like Hatebreed and like all of them are good and stuff. But it's like when I heard, I'll admit the sound was different, but then when I was listening to it at my own time, I was like, this is a really good band, and I wouldn't mind seeing them live and to like actually give them a chance in an intimate show because I'm pretty sure they don't headline all the time, or if they do, it's
Right.
probably not a big arena. But it's just it sucked because I saw them at a crappy area that's not the well known, for its sound anyways. So
Yeah.
what
I
about
I,
you? Have
I gotta
you
tell.
seen anyone that you didn't think you were
Well,
going to end up liking?
Motionless in White. Also, I saw him open up for. So I saw Alice Cooper with Motionless in White and Hailstorm, and I thought I was
Okay.
gonna love Hailstorm and hate Motionless in White, and I got bored during the Hailstorms. I just got fucking
Oh
bored.
my
I'm like,
god.
this is boring. I'm like, I don't know. Motionless in White blew me the fuck away. Like I became a big fan of them after seeing them live. I'm like, and then Chris, like, I really like his interactions with the crowd. Like, I feel like he's a lead singer that gives a shit about the fans being there, appreciates it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I became just really, really big into Motionless in White from that one fucking show. And I was like, so glad. I love when like Alice, when an older musician takes younger people out with them too. I hate
Yeah.
the package. Like I saw like Alice Cooper, Deep Purple, and Edgar Winter Group, and I'm like, that's just 270s for me. Like I don't. I think Alice should be like Ozzy, where we could bring out younger bands. You know what I mean? Like the
Mm-hmm.
fans are there for all this different stuff, but then sometimes those promoters just want to be like. And there was a band I fucking thought sucked, and I love them. Deep Purple, and I'm like space trucking, like I'm all psyched, smoke underwater, and maybe it was because Alice was opening and his show was so out of control with the guillotine and the fucking, with the bloody nurses and the shit and the fireworks and those crazy shit going on. And then Deep Purple came out and just played like a straight set of like, they look like a bunch of really old guys from the 70s. Like, we did too many drugs. We have no will to live. Thanks for coming out. Go fuck yourselves. Like, that's how I felt seeing that show, and I left it early. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess in the reverse, there was a band I thought I was going to love live. And I was like, maybe I would have liked them 20, 30 years ago.
Hmm. What was a band that disappointed you when you saw them live?
So a
Someone you really
disappointing,
wanted to see and you
yeah.
couldn't wait.
Well, I don't know if I've had that kind of extreme experience. I guess one I could go now to, if maybe it's going to segue into the worst concert. I saw, the fucking cock rock band Slaughter, Mark Slaughter, Dana Strum. Like I saw Slaughter in that little Wolf's Den, and it was when Ronnie James Dio died, and they played Heaven and Hell. They sounded really good and tight. I didn't think I was going to like that show. I was like, wow, they sounded good. And then I went to go see. I was like, let me do like a fucking 80s cock rock show, just get in that mood, like that old era. And it was Vixen was the headliner, Slaughter, or maybe Slaughter. I don't know, Vixen and Slaughter, and then the band Autograph, that song "Turn Up the Radio" from the
Uh-huh.
'80s.
Yeah, I remember Autograph. Yeah.
And like fucking, they come on fucking stage. I was gonna fucking break my fucking head. I wanted to start punching myself in the head repeatedly. Their set sucked. There was a different lead singer. Turn Up the Radio sucked. The sound sucked. Slaughter fucking sucked at. I mean, I was like, I will never listen to a song from you again. And then
Yeah.
Vixen, who I was like fucking stoked to see too. I don't know if it was an off night. I mean, Autograph for sure is just shit live. I am proclaiming that is the shittiest live band there is. And we know MGK's out there. And we know Five Finger Death Punch is out there. But you know what? They were worse. It was horrible. I'm traumatized from it. Sometimes I'll wake up in my fucking sleep screaming fucking about the radio. And I'm like, it's fucking Autograph. They're in this room, aren't they? But that was a shit show. That was the worst concert I have ever gone to. I was so disappointed. Like, another one that disappointed me that I thought I was going to like was when I went to see when Motley Crue pretended they were fucking retiring, because that's all these fucking bands do. The Motley Crue and Alice opened there, and Alice like blew him off the stage, and Vince is out there. Rah, 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 rah. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? And then like the whole show, just like, cool. Tommy's on the drums on the ceiling. Cool, they're shooting fire out of the guitars. Imagine if they could fucking play still. And I left that show halfway through the set. Spent a lot of money on the tickets. Didn't care. I'm trying to think if there was any other ones that I can really remember where I was kind of just disappointed with. I don't think, one that surprised me is I saw, this is fucking crazy lineup, 90s. Black Sabbath with Tony Martin as the lead singer and Motorhead opening in Long Island. And that was a great show. And like Sabbath was fucking great. Like they sounded great. And I know people give that era shit. A lot of people hate the Tony Martin era. But like still you had Geezer and you had Iommi, and that backbone of that band.
Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know. I went into 15 different directions there. I just had so much stuff over there.
You're good. That's fine. I think with me, and it's like, it pains me to say this, that they were disappointing. I don't hate them. I didn't hate it that night, but they were disappointing. It was Arch Enemy. Again, 2017 at the Wiltern in Los Angeles, and Trivium was headlining. I was not going to stay for Trivium. I've seen them 3 times at festival. I did not need to stay and see. Before anybody comes at me, I don't hate Trivium at all. I like a lot of their songs. It's never been a band to capture my attention. I'm going to listen through the whole album. I want to go see them. And I just never been, after seeing them live and everything, I mean, they're not the worst band, but I'm not going to waste my time on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I had work the next day. I was like, yeah, no, I'm leaving after Arch Enemy. But it's not that they were bad. I just feel like Arch Enemy is too much of a big band to be in a small venue, let's say medium-sized venue like the Wiltern. Like they are such an arena band. Like I felt like she couldn't give her all. You know what I mean? I felt like the whole band was just restricted. So that's why I was disappointed. And that's why when I hear that they're coming into town, I'm not gonna go unless they're at a festival. Because I know she's going to kick ass and she's going to take over. But I just felt like her. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. But no, that's the one that disappointed me.
I had another one I was just thinking of was, so I live in Massachusetts. There's this place they used to do it was called Rock and Shock every year for Halloween. It's died because of COVID. And you'd go to see a convention of all cool horror shit, like ladies with fucking boa constrictors on them and all this goth shit. And it was sick. Autograph signings like George Romero I saw there, and like all crazy stuff. And there's always a concert attached to it. And one year was Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. And I was like, this is going to be the concert of my fucking life. I'm probably going to drop dead here. I'm going to fucking implode. I loved Rob Zombie and White Zombie. And I don't know if I think he had a cold. He was sick and he was just off his game. And I remember it was like a chore to get through that show. Like he had no life in him. And I'm sure that's not the usual. Like, I'm sure that's not what really goes down. So anyone that can say, yeah, like he's great live, he probably is. But that show, that was crazy. And that fucking venue, that Rock and Shock, you wouldn't believe like the stuff they'd have. Like another year I went, it was Danzig as the headliner, Superjoint Ritual, Prong, who put on a great show live. I didn't think they were going to be so good live. They were fucking sick live. And then Doyle was there. And I think that's when Doyle and Danzig finally started like really talking about a reunion and stuff. Because Doyle was there and they started headline with this cover band. And it was the lead singer of Faster Pussycat. And they were playing all this weird shit. And it was all guest music. It was one of the greatest nights. It was just such a headline by Danzig.
Yeah.
it was crazy, but that's off topic. But like that place, that was a big loss. Like to lose that place over here, like that Rock and Shock was a fucking event all the time. That was great. Luckily, we still have the place called the Palladium, and that gets like all the metal bands, all the death bands, the hardcore bands, the thrash bands. That's a pretty sick place. And I saw Judas. There was a weird show. I've seen Judas Priest a few times, and I prefer them in an arena or a big venue. I saw them in a small place, and it just didn't feel right. Didn't feel right. Like their songs are too epic to be in a small place.
That's kind of what I felt with Arch Enemy. It's just no, they're too epic, they're too angry. It's like it should not be in this small little place. Like, and then we were all packed in there like sardines too, man. Like, well, you literally have to stand and just stay there, right? But anyways, Black Hawk. Okay, anybody like Bullet for My Valentine or Kill Switch Engage? I like a few songs from Bullet for My Valentine. I'm not gonna say, I mean, I don't hate them, but I never really been invested in them. Kill Switch Engage at one point I was. They are good live. Last time I remember when I saw them at Mayhem Festival in 2009. Yeah. I think that was a good lineup because I remember Behemoth was there. Marilyn Manson headline, Slayer was good. So I remember Slayer pushed the fan down, Tom Araya, because I remember this guy goes up. Somehow he passes through security, you know, and this was back when I was crazier. I didn't care. I was going to go up to the front and I made it, right? This is back when now, and I was like, I don't want to get hurt. It's like, I'm old. Like, I don't want to get hurt. I got work the next day, you know? So I remember that time I didn't care. I went running up there and squeeze, you know, I'm short, so I squeeze my way in and everything, right? And I just remember seeing some guy past security and everything and goes on top, and then Tom Araya freaks out and with his guitar and just slams him.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, wow, like what the hell, man?
That's why we need them to come back. We need fucking Slayer to come back. We need those balls again. We got to put people in line. We can't let Five fucking Finger Death Punch destroy our lives like this. You know it and I know it. They are the real pandemic is Five Finger fucking Death Punch, and someone needs to do something about it. And there's only one band, and I really wish they'd come out of retirement. And I get when people are like, well, Jeff's not around anymore, and, you know, Dave Lombardo's not. Too fucking bad. Deal with it, okay? I think Gary Holt's a pretty fucking impressive replacement. That's my 2 cents. I'm more passionate about that band.
Yeah. Ginger are good in a small venue. I haven't seen them yet, but I bet you they are really good.
There's a band people love or hate, it seems like.
Yeah. But, okay. So, let's go ahead and get into the worst one. What was the worst one? What was the one you despised? What was the one you hate?
Yeah, I mean, I still think that Slaughter Vixen fucking autograph was like brutal. I did go like I'm thinking of any. I mean, the only concert I think besides like that where I hated it that much would be something that wasn't metal. Like I had to go. Oh, my fucking father-in-law. Every time he's in town, every fucking time, it's like. The world just hates me every time. The way it lines up. It's like REO fucking Speedwagon is fucking touring. And I got to sit through that bullshit, soft rock, garbage, whiny. This asshole lead singer comes out and he's like, we put the speed in Speedwagon, baby. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Who cares? REO Speedwagon. And I sat through a concert of REO Speedwagon, fucking Styx. And all I wanted to hear was Mr. Roboto. That's all I wanted to hear was Mr. Roboto. That was the only reason I was sitting there still. And you know what song they don't play? Mr. fucking Roboto, because of some feud with the original lead singer 40 fucking years ago. And then after that, Ted Nugent closes the show, and I got to hear his fucking bullshit political. I don't give a shit about. I don't want to hear shit. And don't get me wrong, when he plays guitar, it's pretty fucking heavy stuff. But that was the worst night of my life. It was almost, I think it was 6 hours of pure shit. And then to follow it up, my father-in-law came into town this fucking year. Who's touring again? Who's touring? REO fucking Speedwagon. He's like, got us tickets. And I'm too nice of a guy. The madman's a nice guy. He's a gentleman. So I'm like, I'm going to have to go with this guy. We go. The band that opens for them is a fucking hardcore country band. A country band. I fucking was going to literally I was going to end it right then and there. I was like, I can't go on as a human being with that Southern twang and that slow Southern fucking country bullshit. I'm not a fan of country.
I'm not either. There's very few. I mean, Kenny Rogers was okay, but I'm not
Old
like.
school. I don't mind. Yeah, old school stuff like Johnny Cash, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton. The old stuff had character. This new shit, like with this, it's just shit. It's like
See,
Five
here's the
Finger Death
thing.
Punch is even bigger pussies, I guess. I don't know.
Oh god, here's the thing. Like Johnny Cash, I wasn't the biggest fan. I only liked one song from him, and it was "Country Boy." That was the only
Oh wow.
one I liked. I was like, I just
I
couldn't
like
get
Ring
into
of
him.
Fire because the Silent Hill movie, and they use Ring of Fire in
Oh,
it, so I always like associate that.
I like what's it called, the Social Distortion version, but
All right, that works.
it works. Yeah. No, okay. So for me, the worst band I saw, unfortunately, and this hurts to say. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Latino, right? I'm just an albino Mexican. That's what I like to call myself. But one of my favorite Spanish metal bands, and they're like on the power metal side, is called Rata Blanca. So white rat, basically translation. So Spanish words of the day. So basically they're from Argentina. And I was like, because they're good. Like if you like that, kind of think a little bit of, Halloween. Like I don't want to put them that high up, but with that
Yeah,
style.
that's cool.
So in case you never heard of them, so it's that like the beginning of power metal, basically. So I was so excited to see them. I couldn't wait and everything, right? So I was like, they were supposed to be on. It was just them. There was nobody else like headline. It was at this like really big dance hall, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't wait, right? So I'm over here happy and everything, and I'm like almost in the front or whatever, right? And they take forever to get up. They were supposed to be up like around 9 o'clock. It's almost 11. I shit you not. It was almost
Wow.
11. And I
I
had to
lost
be
it.
at work. I had to get up like at 5:30 in the morning for work. Because this is when I
Wow.
used to work at a hotel and I had to do like the early like morning like
Yeah.
breakfast stuff. So it's brutal to work at a hotel. If anybody knows how to work, you get treated like shit. So just remember, I was excited. I thought I was gonna be home by 12 or whatever, right? I got home close to 2. But then that's not the bad part. That's like, first world problems right there. No, 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 is everybody gets antsy, everyone's like moving around and is like trying to move you out of your spot or whatever. And here's where it got real bad: the sound. I could deal with the San Manuel amphitheater, that it's a little off and wonky, and we'll get to that in a minute. I got some shit to talk about that place and what they need to fix. But the sound to hear was too fucking loud. Like it was to the point where like the vibration was pushing you back. And
Oh wow.
this wasn't an arena or anything. This wasn't even like, a concert hall or anything like that. This was like just like a dance hall area, right? So, I mean, a pretty big, well-known one, but I was just so upset at how horrible. You couldn't really hear them that well, what they were singing, but their stage presence and all that was great. Don't get me wrong. They loved interacting, but it was just the sound was so bad. It was too fucking loud. You couldn't hear the person next to you. Even if you're at a thrash or death metal show, you could usually hear the person next to you, like somewhat, right?
True.
This one, you just saw lips move. So it
Wow.
was so bad, and I was so disappointed. And that was like, and I was like, I was just so fucking mad. It was like disappointment ain't even the fucking word. I was just
Yeah.
pissed. And then my ears were ringing nonstop all the way, I think, till 8 in the morning. It was just so bad. I basically went to a show, had no idea what they were singing. I mean, I mean, not the like words wise, you know what I mean? But yeah, the
Yeah.
fact that they made us wait so long. Yeah,
It
and then
sucks
people were
when
just
the
in bitchy
voices are.
moods, and I almost got in a fight with a girl because she cut me in line when I was trying to buy merch, and I'm over here telling myself I don't want to go to jail or anything like that. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I really wanted to like fucking beat the shit out of that girl and like fucking make sure
Yeah.
she bled to death. Because when I get mad, I get mad. So I'm just like, I'm so mad throughout that whole time. But that had to have been the worst show.
That's horrible. There's nothing worse than when the vocals are off at a show. Like even when I saw Sabbath on the last tour with Ozzy, and I'm just like, the where I saw him, the fuck, it just didn't. I couldn't hear Ozzy. I could
Mm-hmm.
hear the band. I could fucking. They were playing hard and heavy, and I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you
Speaking
the
when you just
truth.
talk about getting, huh?
That was the Ozfest meet Ozfest, right?
No, I saw it on just Sabbath by themselves, and it was
Oh, okay.
in this place Mansfield, an outdoor venue, and
Okay.
which I saw
What year
Kiss
was
there,
this?
and that was a great show.
What year was this?
This was the last couple of years ago, a few years ago. Whenever,
Mm,
how many years ago was that now? Like 4 or 5? I forget. It was
probably
during the
2020.
end of the. I'm forgetting though. Like that tour has been. Every band that fucking is retiring does a 5-year retirement fucking tour. Um, but like I couldn't believe how bad the vocals were. I'm like, I can't hear anything Ozzy is saying, like not one bit. And I
I'll
get that
be
he's not who
honest
he
with
once
you.
was.
I didn't stay for Black Sabbath during
So yeah,
the Ozfest. Yeah, I didn't because I knew it was gonna be bad. I
yeah,
knew it wasn't gonna be that great. And then when I came back, I remember like the guy next to me was talking to me when my friend went to go to the front as much as she can for Slipknot. He was like, "Yeah, no, he was. You couldn't even hear him. He even said the same. You couldn't really hear him or anything. You heard the music. It's kind of
yeah,
like what you said. Yeah, I was like, so I missed out on nothing.
yeah. No, it's like
Yeah,
just listen to the albums, like with Sabbath stuff. Like
yeah.
just listen to the albums. It's good. And
But I
when
heard
you're
he's
talking
like
about
a
getting
mess.
mad, what'd you
Huh?
say? Sorry.
I heard like when he's live, he's a mess. Like especially after the 2000s.
Yeah, now he just doesn't have it anymore, which is a shame, right? Legend, icon, all the great music, but he just stands on stage, doesn't move around a lot. He forgot the lyrics during Paranoid, and I'm just like, like again, I don't like bad mouthing the legends and the icons, but it comes a time sometimes you're like, you probably shouldn't be touring anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and then when you
You
were
want to
saying
know
like
the
talking about,
truth? I'm gonna tell you the fucking truth right now. Look, I love Megadeth, and I was a hardcore Dave Mustaine fan for the longest. I had a huge crush on him and all that, but now it's dead because he's a homophobe. But it's just, he's anti-LGBT because he's a reborn again Christian, and rather he likes to
yeah,
admit it or not, he brings religion into it all the time. So,
mm-hmm.
but besides all that, I still love the music and all, but this last album, the last two songs, because I know he has one with Ice-T, I couldn't even listen to it halfway. It sounded like
it did,
nothing.
it
It
didn't
sounded
fit right. Yeah,
I felt like I felt like he was slowly trying to bring don't get me wrong, I understand thrash metal was about politics and the injustice side of it, but he looks like he's very like pro, you know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like it's being shoved down my throat like
it
a
it was.
political debate.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. When people give me this argument and be like, "No, they were always political," I'm like, the thrash and punk bands were their way of political was like they didn't like any of it. They didn't like
Yeah,
politics. It's about being corrupt. It's like now these bands have to fucking choose a side, right? I'm Republican. I'm like, I don't give a flying fuck. Like
yeah,
that's the only thing I don't like with social media is like I miss the days I didn't know what anybody was into. I'd buy
yeah.
Metal Maniacs magazine and maybe read an interview. Like you didn't have first-hand information of what every fucking person thinks. I'm like, I don't fucking care what you think about politics, bands. Like, I don't give a shit. Play the music. I spent good money to see this, right? And you're like, shut the fuck up. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not helping anything either. You're just picking a side, looking to fight. I don't fucking care. If I want to see politics, right, we'll go read about politics. I'll go watch a fucking political show. But I don't
Yeah.
want to see fucking these bands up there like declaring all their
It's
politics. I'm like,
not at least like D. Snyder who made a point and made them look like a fool. Dave Mustaine looks like a fool when he's talking about it, And that's
Dave
because D.
Mustaine
Snyder is a
is
conservative and he told off like
Mustaine.
everyone
Yeah,
there.
he now there's a guy, a fucking great guy. When I was living in Long Island, he was just trying to start a comeback. D. Snyder's SMFs, then the band Widowmaker with Al Pitrelli, and we got to meet him multiple times at the radio station WBAB. And he had a slogan: "If it's not metal, it's crap." And it was just getting off the ground. Like he had lost all his money. Like he'll talk about all this stuff. He had nothing going on. No one would give him a record contract. Couldn't join any tour, and they were looking for donations to the radio station, like to bring in metal CDs. So I remember
Mm-hmm.
I brought in King Diamond the Eye, and then I brought in one of the Death is Just the Beginning compilations. And me and my friends went to meet him, and he came out of his fucking car like it was 1985 all over again. He had like the trench coat. He's the nicest guy. He ran and got us T-shirts. They said, "If it ain't metal, it's crap," like his slogan, and
Mm-hmm.
signed us our autographs. It was a fucking blast. And then we got to go to many Widowmaker shows because my brother became like a fucking super fan of Twisted Sister and Widowmaker. And
Mm-hmm.
we'd get backstage like all the fucking time. It was like really fucking cool. And but I get what your point, what you're saying, like he was fighting for a stand on what you're doing to music and censorship and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, here comes Dave. But I mean, Dave Mustaine's always been a dick. Like, he
Yeah.
gets it right. He's a well-known fucking dickhead from back in the day. I mean, he's always been difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff, back in the day, he spoke out about shit that needed to be spoken out. But the problem with this is like, I think now he's just very like conspiracy theory, It's like, dude, no,
Oh, he's
don't get
gone
me
off.
wrong.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
shit that needs to be looked into. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time,
Yeah.
you
It's a
kind of
fucked up
jump
world.
ahead and you're friends with Alex Jones, and I can't take you seriously. But anyways, let's get back on this. But any bands you like that are not metal or could be classed as a metal band, you want to take that one?
Yeah, like the Kinks. I love the fucking Kinks. But if you
Mm-hmm.
think of their music in the late 60s, where like You Really Got Me and all that stuff, like that was kind of metal for the time, right? Like there was a lot of just light music out. I like a lot of those type bands that they still rock. I love fucking 80s. I'm a sucker for 80s bands. I fucking
Mm-hmm.
love all Madonna,
Except
fucking
for
Fallout.
REO
I don't
Speedwagon.
give a shit. You'll hear me singing that shit around the house sometimes. I don't fucking care. Because if you want it to be metal, it's metal. And that's what people don't understand, right? Like you can be metal and listen to other music. You can be metal
Yeah.
and not wear a metal shirt that day. You don't
Yeah.
have to put on this image that people, that's gatekeeping to me. Not when we talk about bands and debate bands, but when people start fucking bullying people about like you don't look metal or you don't fit the metal, go fuck yourself. That's what metal is. Go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all those. I mean, I love Duran Duran. I could listen to that
Me
shit all day
too.
long,
I
right?
love Duran
But I just want
Duran.
the fun music, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
fun. You want to be in a good mood. We all work and life sucks and everybody's fighting. And you put on that 80s pop stuff and you're just like, holy shit. Like, life's amazing. Can we go back in time?
I think for me, oh gosh, I do listen to a lot of 60s stuff. Like I do listen to a lot of the psychedelic. Like I love Strawberry Alarm Clock.
They're
They
awesome.
were the one who sang Incest
Yeah.
and Peppermint, and I think the other
Yep.
one was like Black Mirror or something like that. But it was a lot of that. But what was the other one? Trying to think. I like ABBA.
ABBA's got some good
They
shit.
have some good stuff.
Waterloo. That's a great song.
Like lay all your first of all, how many metal bands have done their version of Lay All Your Love? Like Halloween did
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Some power metal, symphonic metal band did it. I just forgot their name. But a lot of there's been remakes of that song by metal bands. I forgot who else did. There's a couple other more. Avantasia. There we go. They did their own version of it, I believe. So I was like, come on, man. They and I don't see anything wrong with it. And it is kind of hypocritical. Like people don't say anything when a metal band does their own version of a pop song, but they get mad right away when a pop singer does their version of a metal song.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
True.
nobody looks at that.
Do you know who's a band? You know who I really liked? It's not metal. That was two of the greatest concerts I've ever fucking seen. Is Peter Frampton, and Peter Frampton live is so fucking sick, and he just has fun, and he makes fun of how like in the '70s everyone owned that Frampton Comes Alive double album, and he looked like the pretty boy with his, and now he's like bald, and he can play guitar. He can, and I know some of his stuff can borderline hard rock a little bit, but that's one that I saw that I was like, holy shit, this guy, this is a legend right here that's putting on a fucking elite show. And yeah, right. Like there's nothing wrong. Anyone that's a metalhead usually listens to some other shit. Like the people that claim they listen to nothing at all but metal, like, that's a lot of poser shit. I mean, when I was younger in my teens, I was that fucking person. That was it. It was metal or nothing. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking stupid way to be. Like I gotta be open to all types of music. And it's just amazing how it snowballs, right? Like when you get into music and you want to find even the roots of metal and you start going deep, like Hendrix, The Doors, Janis Joplin, and then, in the 50s, Little Richard and all this other shit. Like you're like, this was all the formation of it, of bands playing more aggressive, loud, live, being crazy, causing controversy. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I like that's definitely not metal.
I'm a huge Doors fan.
Oh,
I love
not
the Doors.
one bad album to me. I fucking worship the Doors.
UFO was one of the first bands, they might not be metal, but they got me into like more classic rock and the heavier side. Boston, love or hate them. I love Boston. That's a
Boston's a
feel
great
good
band.
rock band right there. But those are all good fucking bands right there that we mentioned and all great stuff. I know somebody asked, like, do you like Deftones? Like, dude, yeah, would you just miss when well, I personally don't like them, but you mentioned how they blew your mind away, in one of the stories. You don't, but
live. Yep.
Live, yeah, when you saw them live, yeah. But no, man, it's just the gatekeeping thing. I don't even think that half the time they know what they're gatekeeping. I really don't.
No, and that's why, as you know, I make fun of it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be the obnoxious gatekeeper. Like, I love being to show really how stupid gatekeeping can be. And then also to say, though, like, I miss the days of like arguing over, like, people always say, like, the gatekeeper killed me. I'm like, that's all bullshit. Like, stop. Support your bands. Who gives a shit anyway what someone else said? Who fucking cares? Like, I don't care. I used to argue with people, I'm thinking, when I was in my teens, even like with Iron Maiden, you were talking about. And I almost got in a fist fight over someone bad mouthing Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And I'm like, that's a great fucking album. And like, I miss the debating of metal. And it doesn't, I'm not talking about dickheads that attack people personally, because that's bullshit. You know what I mean? People don't need to go after people the way they look or anything they want to say about people. If you're debating a band, first of all, these bands don't care about you. You know what I mean? Like, these bands put out music and they make money. That's their fucking job. Like, deal with it. Argue with it, but like, just be respectful, kind of.
I just think that a lot of these gatekeepers, especially the younger ones, it's not even really necessarily the older ones. The younger ones, I guess, because they're so high on testosterone or whatever, right? Because let's face it, this majority is like, boys. That's why. I feel like they're the biggest gatekeepers. And like, it's funny because I was watching a YouTube video probably like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. One of the popular, I guess, metal YouTubers on here, whether people like him or not, his name is Black Metal Werewolf. And he's gotten, people just don't like him because he's too basic, but so what? It works for him, right? So basically he talked about gatekeeping and how, like, him and his friends, they were talking about bands or whatever. And this one girl got really curious and she asked something, and the guy, one of his friends, basically told her to fuck off or something. And like, why are you doing that to girls when you guys know you can't get any pussy because you guys, were always meant to look like the nerds?
Yeah.
Like, why? And then, like, the thing is, I got gatekeep, like, probably, like, when I first got on YouTube, like, 5 years ago. I want to say this was, like, maybe 4 years ago. Dude, I remember, like, the trolls came after me. They're like, women ruined metal. Just like they ruined, like comic books and everything. And I'm like, I'm sorry the girl in high school didn't pay attention to you.
Right.
But, I've been, I'm sorry, but I've been like, like rejected like 90% of the time or 95% of the time with every guy that that I've dated or whatever, or that I had interest, and I'm still here not giving a fuck. I was like, I'm still here not giving a fuck. It's just
people. You're right. Sorry to interrupt, but you're right with this. I'll make a fucking video, right? And like, how I like being a smart ass 24/7. That is how I live my life. Like, that is me. That's my fucking personality all the time. I drive everyone crazy. But I will put up something like talking about some of the bands that like should hang it up or should retire or something like, whoa, that Metallica album was pure shit. Or like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this band reuniting without all the original members. And they'll be like, listen, old man, like, you don't fucking know. I'm like, oh, you stupid fuck. I was around when these bands came up. Like, you're calling me old man. Do you know how fucking old Metallica is? Like, do you know how old the Kiss is? It's so ironic to me when they'll start like, you're old. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking old. Your mom's fucking old. That doesn't stop me from seeing her. But like, they don't fucking understand this, They don't get it. These people, like, you're busting my balls, and the guy you're fucking talking about, like Ozzy, he's 25 years older than me.
Yeah.
It's so foolish and stupid. And any of you out there that like, you want to gatekeep, but you don't attack people. And this whole thing, and this has been going on forever, right? Oh, women can't be funny. I'm like, Elvira, Cassandra Peterson, one of the funniest people I've ever seen in my fucking life. Massive impact on my life.
You know why they think
bands,
women can't be funny? It's because, look, there's a lot of male, like, let's say, like, for example, Dave Chappelle. Okay, he's funny, don't get me wrong, but he'll be saying some dumb shit about women. I don't think that's funny, but a lot of men think that's funny. But women is like, you know, they're basically blowing off steam about what men have put them through, and the men don't think it's funny. That's what it
That's
is.
true.
That is what it is.
People need to
Because
just
I know,
stop being full of
let me
themselves, right?
just say this real quick. Like the one thing that bugged me, like there's this channel that I watch, the horror channel, and then you know, it's like a group of people, and I love them and all. They seem great, and the times I've talked to them a couple of times, great. And when they did the remake of Black Christmas, I think it was like the third remake or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
He was like, well, it was just disgusting when the girl mentioned, you know, the Diva Cup, and I'm like, how many times have I had to hear disgusting, rapey shit as jokes throughout fucking like the 80s? Especially the 80s was the height of like, you know, looking past rape, you know, and putting it in there,
Yeah.
you know? So there's a lot of 80s movies I don't like because it was just like, oh yeah, you know, let's just put a rape scene, but let's not make such a big deal out of it. Like, how many times have we had to tolerate and you're mad over a period cup? Really?
Yeah.
You're concentrating on it. Don't get me wrong, the whole movie was shit, but you're concentrating on that the most. Like, there's something wrong with you if that's all you could concentrate on. All right, be happy the bitch got her period so she ain't pregnant with your ugly kid. Okay? So that's just a different that's just the difference. Like I always make sure I tell them right away, I do not want to have your ugly ass kid. I do not know.
That's fucking great.
I'm afraid they're not gonna take my genes. It's gonna be all your genes.
And you know, and you're right though, like because
but
you
anyways,
look at
continue.
sorry, the 80s. You look at the 80s, how hard it was for female metal bands to get going. Like I love the band Bitch. I don't know if you ever heard them.
No.
Great early 80s metal band. Like you got to check them out. The album Be My Slave. This was like great heavy shit. Betsy was ahead of her time. It sold like 5 copies, right? Nobody gave, like, I think of 80s. I'm like, oh, you think of like Lita Ford, right? And I'm like, that she wasn't really metal. She was more glam rock. And
I didn't really care for her that much. I didn't really care for the ones that sang Cherry Bomb, but I love Girl School and I love Betty Blowtorch. Nobody talks about them.
Nobody.
Even though Betty Blowtorch had a short while, but they were great.
Who I loved, I mean, I guess they're more like punk alternative, was L7. Like I'm a massive L7 fan. And I was always hoping they were gonna like break really big. And like they came close in the 90s. And then they kind of just, I know they're still around, but like they never made it to the next level I was hoping they were gonna make it to. But they were pretty popular at the time. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. Okay, we already talked about that, Kevin, like 20 minutes ago. What do you think of new Megadeth? I think he's trying to be subliminal and push his side of politics into your throat. I really do. That's what I think he's trying to do. But it's not even that. It's just the music is so generic. Ice what's it called? Ice T. I was about to say Ice Cube. Ice T couldn't even save it. I couldn't.
You know, and that's so. There's a guy. I have all the Ice-T OG on vinyl. I fucking love it. I love Body Count, but I don't. It's like when he did that Black Sabbath song "Illusion of Power" back in the day. It doesn't fit like in the Megadeth new song. Like I'm listening, I'm like, okay, and then he comes in, and I'm like, you're out of place here, right? This sounds so off right now. No flow to it at all. And I feel like you're like, even he was kind of going through the motions, doing the same shit he has always done. And that's to your point. And it's like, I know, I feel like a lot of the bands, like all these newer albums aren't going to matter and stand the test of time. I know people don't want to hear that. And I still think you need to support the bands. But like in 50 years, no one's going to give a shit about anything after like Countdown to Extinction or the Black Album. Like they're just not going to fucking care. All those other albums are just going to kind of get lost. And I'm not saying there's not some good stuff in it. Like I'll hear New Testament, New Overkill and stuff, New Exodus. I'm like, this is really good shit, but it's not going to be remembered like, Bonded by Blood. That's just not going to fucking happen. And people have to understand it.
And then you got to remember it was a different time back then. And it was like, they were hungry. They wanted, it was different. It's not like now where I think, at first people would throw Metallica for this, but I feel like Megadeth is just, they're in a very secure place and you can hear it in their music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. I get you're not in your 20s anymore, but it's, at least you hear other bands trying to take a risk or whatever and move with their, their stuff.
It's
And
weird, right? It's weird that these bands had like these bands have all these iconic albums and then it just stops and they can't get the sound back. And you're right,
mhm.
the times change, the influences change, the money, the record labels in their 20s, they're like, go fuck yourself. This is who we are. We're going to break shit. Now they're like, if we do what the record label says and we go do this tour, like even Megadeth opening for 5 fucking Finger Death Punch, like how the fuck is that real? In what universe does an iconic band like that open up for pure fucking shit? Like, I'd rather listen to shit. I should go get a fucking microphone and put it by a pile of shit, and I bet it sounds better than fucking 5 Finger Death Punch. And they're fucking
Grindcore,
headlining.
slam metal is shit, so you can listen to that. I hate
There you
slam
go.
metal, dude. I can't. I can't. Anything that sounds like they're like a legit pig squealing and like shit coming out, I can't, dude. I just can't. I try giving it a shot. And I'm very open-minded. Here's the thing. When it comes to music, I'm very open-minded. Yeah, sometimes it'll take me a while because I'm not in the mood for it, but I'm very open-minded. I mean, I was one of the fewest girls that, I'm always the only person or the only girl who is listening to something dark and heavy and you can't understand it, right? So I think, I'm over here trying to be open to slam metal. I was like, well, how bad is it? Like, why are people talking shit about it? And I thought the black metal bands were crazy with their logos.
Oh yeah, you have no fuck. You have a slam metal album. You don't know who it is. You have no idea. It's like they shot a fucking paintball at a screen. They're like, here's our band logo, right? You're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you're right, and the guy's in the fucking bathroom taking his shit. He's like, there's a new single. And I'm like, what's going on? What are we doing?
It's just, yeah. So yeah, you could just listen to them. That shit right there. But oh god, but no, going back to the whole Mega, he's one of the bands I think that needs to hang up their guitar. I think the whole entire Big Four. Well, Slayer, maybe they have the better chance. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited for Pantera. That whole lineup.
I will say, it is so. I never thought it was fair that Phil kind of just because they all broke up and his career was less. Like Vinny had Hell Yeah, and then Damage Plan actually sold some copies back in the day, and Phil always got just thrown to the side with it. And that show, I saw Pantera headline with. This is one of my top shows ever. Nassau fucking Coliseum, Long Island, New York. I'm 17, 18 years old. Metal's dead, but Pantera is waving that fucking flag. Far Beyond Driven, #1 fucking album in the country. Like, it was fucking the momentum. And then Typo Negative's out there, and Typo Negative opened for fucking Pantera. And speaking of the Doors, fucking Typo played Light My Fire, and I was going fucking crazy. I was like, this is fucking crazy. And then Pantera came out, and just seeing Dimebag in his prime, top of the world. This band is fucking carrying fucking metal because all the other bands became fucking pussies. And people get mad at that. And I'm like, go check out all those 90s albums from all your fucking thrash titans. There's shit album after shit album after shit album. And then somehow cock rock got even cockier and shittier. And everyone got so light because they wanted to sound like the fucking Smashing Pumpkins. And you have Pantera coming out there just uncompromising, right? They didn't care. Not radio friendly, in your fucking face, drunk all the time. That show is insane. And it is great that people now will be able to see. The thing I am torn about is calling it Pantera. I hope it's called like An Evening with Pantera or something, only because I still feel like Dime and Vinny, like that's just the bat. It would be like Gene and Peter not being in the Kiss lineup. Like, I think sometimes it's just that foundation that you can't fuck with. Lars and what's his fucking and Hetfield. I feel like there's certain ones, but I do agree. I think it's going to be great. And Zach Wilde, what a choice, right? Nobody could step in except
I think that was a good choice. I thought that was a smart choice too, because he was like, I know a lot of people were really close with the Abbott brothers, but it was like especially him when he did the song "In This River" just for him. So yeah, for Dimebag.
He's just got that look, doesn't he? He's like that. Like Dimebag was a presence. You saw Dimebag, and you're like, this is not fucking of this earth. This guy. And
See,
the
here's the
way he
thing.
could,
I was a teenager. Like I was in high school when, he got shot. So and when they
oh wow,
separated, so I couldn't. And remember, I couldn't see, any shows as a teenager, so they were
yeah.
gone.
So you got to be psyched. Like, how great is it going to be? Like, it's
It's a
something too.
chance.
We never thought would happen. Like, it was never going to happen. And I know it's splitting a lot of people and argue. And again, I think it's good to debate. And I'm also the type, like, if you don't like something, don't go fucking see it. Don't try and pick on people that are into something. If you don't like it, just don't look at it. What's
Yeah.
the fucking problem, right?
Yeah. No, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, aren't they a racist band and all that? I mean, I really don't want to get into that, but I know that's what a lot of people are going to be bringing up. Here's the thing. Okay, so I grew up in California, right? Born and raised here, right? Born and raised actual Los Angelino, not a lot of the transplants we have here that come from the East Coast. No offense, but we get a lot of them that
Yeah.
come here. So I noticed, even with the East Coast people coming in and all that, like, see, when I was in high school, when they taught you about the Confederate flag, we had teachers that joked around with it and just call it the redneck flag. So we had no idea what it was really.
Yeah.
They didn't really teach you that, you know what I mean? Like it is now. So sometimes I feel like some of these bands that, or whoever it was that wore a Confederate flag, I don't think they knew what they were wearing.
From what I lived in the South for a little bit, and I will say, like, when I first, it was like these fucking Confederate flags and fucking pickup trucks everywhere. Because I came from New York, so it was like a different fucking world. And now I'm more like, I see what it's a rebel flag is what a lot of people used to say to me down there. And like they would like Dimebag was so into it because it meant being a rebel. Like that flag was right anti-establishment because they were in a war and they were trying to separate. And people look at that with pride, not in the history of slavery and all that other stuff. And I always try and look at things and go, when you really look at it, everybody in history, every government's been shit, right? Like they're so fucking corrupt. There's so much bullshit everybody has done to hold people back, and it's still happening in today's times. If somebody, I really doubt Dimebag had a fucking Confederate flag guitar to be a racist. I think it was just a badass rebel flag thing. Jack Daniels, rebel flag, right? Metal.
Yeah.
But I know, like, we could get deeper into people would be surprised if you look into every band that's ever existed. You will find shit about people you don't like.
Yeah.
People are people. People, just because they're a band doesn't mean they're good fucking people.
And I do remember eventually seeing an interview with Phil, and then he even said, like, when you think about it now, then yeah, it's not a great meaning of the flag, but I really don't think back then he knew what it meant. I don't think a lot of people. I didn't know. I thought it was just a redneck flag. That's it. but
there
I
was
did
the fucking yeah.
Huh? Go ahead.
The Dukes of fucking Hazzard had it on their fucking car. That was like a massive show, right?
Yeah.
Like there was the movie too with Johnny Knoxville, and it's like, that's not what it was for. It was a rebellious thing. Whether people agree or disagree with it, that's what it was. That's what they were taking from it. They were not running around saying, I'm a fucking racist. Like that's, and like you're saying, like in hindsight, maybe now some of the bands like, oh, okay, I learned the history. I don't support it. But like, you got to let people explain their side of things. Not when someone's just a piece of shit, of course, but like, you got to let people explain, like, no, I'm into this because it's rebellious. And Pantera's a rebellious band where we didn't fucking pussy out in the 90s. We didn't pull a Metallica, a Megadeth. We didn't do all that bullshit. Anthrax, all these fucking bands got light. Pantera in the 90s was the anti everything. That's what we fucking had. If you wanted someone that was selling albums.
Because, okay, like, I'm gonna admit, I used to have a poster with the Pantera poster with like a girl, like a stripper, and then there was like what they call the Confederate flag. Eventually I took it down because I didn't like, at that time, I didn't know what it was about, right? But then when I start understanding it, it's one thing if you start understanding it and you want it gone, or you want to keep it just because, what, at this time it reminded me of that. That's fine. And the same thing, I had a shirt, it was like with a girl in front of it, and it was like, with the flag. Eventually I tossed that out too, and I just kept the one where it says "Don't mess with me," and it's like the Texas flag. That's the one I kept. But that's fine. I made that choice because I just didn't want, not necessarily what people would think. It's just I didn't like the, once I start finding out more and more what it was about, I was like, okay, you're basically promoting you're a loser, and I don't want that because I'm not. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So, but the thing is, now we have black metal black metal, they hate everything. And don't get me wrong, there is a side as like NSBM or something like that, where they are racist and they do hold. And
Yeah.
I did a live stream about this like almost a year ago, I think. But there are, you know, neo Nazis, pro black metal bands, and they
Yeah.
hold these like events to support these, you know, to fund these hateful groups. So yes, there are unfortunately those. I just don't think Pantera is that far into it. It's just is what I'm trying to
No.
say.
No, and you're right. And this is the fucking thing people forget too. With again, I'm not talking about. I mean, and it is great that I was around reading fucking Metal Maniacs in the '90s while this black metal shit was going down and people were getting killed and churches are burning. You're like, this is fucking psychotic. Like, what the fuck is going on? I can't believe I was around for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of black metal and especially a lot of punk are just nihilists. They're anti fucking everything. They hate everybody equally. They fucking hate authority. They hate government. And
Mm-hmm.
now though, if you got to let people be rebellious still, like if you're like, I just fucking hate everything. Don't ask me to choose a side. Fuck everybody. Fuck it all. Start from scratch. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Like that's not allowed anymore. Like you'd be said like, oh, you don't care about human rights. You don't care. I'm like, you don't get what being just anti everything is about sometimes, and saying don't fucking judge me, go fuck yourself. And there is, unfortunately, to your point though, there are people in the punk hardcore scene that are racist, right, and are rallies for neo-Nazi, and that sucks. And then you feel bad for the bands, for the majority of the bands that aren't though, because they're like, we're not associated with that shit. Like, yeah, I it sucks that a skinhead showing up to my fucking concert. You know what I mean? But like, there's also 90% of my crowd is not into all that bullshit. So it's
Well,
like, it's a
isn't that Five
touchy
Finger
line.
Death Punch's majority skinheads that show up to the show?
Five Finger Death Punch fans, a majority fucking skinheads, shitheads, assholes, dicks, dickless fucking. I fucking hate that fucking band, as you know, so fucking much. Every fucking, if you're listening to Five Finger Death Punch right now, do me a fucking favor and have your ears fucking checked. Go fucking grab a real metal album right now. It's an emergency. If you have a friend that's infected with that shit, Five Finger Death Punch, go give him a fucking Slayer album. Help them get through this. Go give them Pantera. Like I can't listen to a band that's like, God damn, no motherfucker tells me how to live my fucking life. Go fuck yourself. You sound like the guy's name is like Voltron Battery or Battery.
Oh,
What is wrong with that fucking band?
oh God.
I
No,
can't do it with them.
I can't. No, it is funny because like one time I was having a live stream a while ago with one of my buddies, right? And this one guy kept naming, like, I know you and I, we both hate Tool. We
Yeah.
both can't
Oh,
stand
I
Tool.
fucking hate Tool.
Yeah, but then the guy will be like, you know, talking about like Metallica's the greatest band ever. I was like, I don't think they're great, but they're not the greatest band ever. I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And then like then he goes, Tool is a great band. I was like, no, they are not. And I think when he got on Five Finger Death Punch, I'm not sure which one it was either Tool or Five Finger Death Punch. And I said it straight out on the live stream. I was like, dude, you have really bad taste in music, and I don't think,
That's
yeah, it's
great.
clear you have not seen enough of my videos to know I don't like any of the bands you just named.
That is awesome.
But
I remember when Tool first came out on Headbangers Ball.
oh God.
Headbangers Ball was a show for metal kids, if you don't know. And they came out with that fucking claymation video, and I was like, this is shit. And they were hyping them so much, and I'm like, holy shit, not only is metal dying in the 90s, it's being replaced with pure shit. But little did I know, Tool was just a precursor for Five Finger Shit Punch. Like, it's never, I don't think we can stoop any lower as fucking metalheads. That's the lowest fucking form of fucking music. I'd rather listen to the fucking classical shit. Fucking, it's just garbage. I fucking refuse to acknowledge. And when people tell me like Tool's a metal band, I'm like, they'll tell you they're not a fucking metal band because they're not. There's nothing metal about that fucking band.
Yeah, absolutely no. Wow. I just the fact that, and then I just don't understand why people ask me, do you like listening to them? I'm like, is that a serious question? Like, is that a very serious question? Like,
Yeah.
no. But the one, oh God, what was I forgot what I was gonna say, but there was like another band I was gonna bring into this. It was something kind of almost to do with Megadeth, but not really. Oh my God, I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
It'll happen when we mention shit bands. It clouds your fucking mind, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, but Oh boy, now that makes me mad that I can't remember what I was gonna say. But no, I mean, from what it sounds like, you and I have been like you obviously have been to more shows than I have, but I think I'm glad I had you on here because you've been one of the TikTokers I've been wanting to talk to for more. The other one I want to talk to is Tommy, the one who is old metal. But I feel like he's going through a lot right now. I don't know, with his son being missing,
Yeah.
his stepson. Yeah, so I didn't want to ask him
Hmm.
or anything. That, and I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like it's hard to get a hold of him. He doesn't live that far from me. He lives in the Hollywood area, I think. I live
Oh,
like maybe 30 to 40 minutes from there. So I was like,
yeah.
oh, this fool lives near me. I was like, okay. So but he's another one because he has a lot of stories of going to shows and gigs. I love watching his videos. But
Yeah.
I don't know, because you're familiar with him, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it's the thing with old school metalheads. Like we went to a ton of shows. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it was just like you fucking had to do it. Like you had to just go to every show that was coming around all the fucking time. And I am glad to see a lot of younger metalheads doing that now too. I feel like it's come back, and it's like people are just pumped. Maybe because everyone's fucking locked down for a couple of years, but like people are pumped to get out there and see live music again. And yeah, no, and then thanks for having me on here because I think it's great. It's great to come on and talk metal, and it's cool that you want to do this stuff, and bring. Like I said, I never go fucking live. People have asked me to go live for over a year on TikTok constantly. I'm worried that I'm gonna get fucking out of control on there though, and they're gonna be like, boom,
TikTok
done.
is just different. That's the thing. TikTok, I mean, my goodness, dude. Okay, don't get me wrong. YouTube is a little special too. Like, you don't make money on here like how people used to. I'm at 1,000
Yeah,
subscribers. Technically, I'm supposed to be making money, at least something with AdSense. I do have an account and everything. However, now I need like 4,000 hours or something
yeah,
like that. And it needs to get approved. And I don't know what other shit, right? Before I get
yeah,
any of my ads. And I need to collect $100 in order to get paid for that month. So it's just, but the thing is too, like, you don't see the comments anymore on YouTube. So, and then it's not even nothing bad,
yeah,
you cannot put down like, fuck this, man. I agree with what you
yeah,
say, because it gets, it can't even be shown. And they're gonna be thinking, why'd you delete my comment? I was like, I didn't. Like, one subscriber that I have, he's always leaving me on every video. He calls me the angel of metal or something like that. His
yeah.
fucking comment got like, won't be shown. It shows that I have like 3 comments, but it won't show his I'm like, so YouTube, don't get me wrong, is not perfect. However, is not to the extreme of TikTok, where it's like they have so many trolls just going at you and they don't even look at, why you got banned. One of my video clips that I did from YouTube, where because I have this segment where I play like as a both, I do like parodies of a both, right? Like I make him like a tarot reader. So I did
Okay.
like this little thing. We'll do one, you and I. We'll do one, you and I. But
Cool.
I did this whole thing where I was like playing as a boss, and I was doing a tarot reading to my friend, and it wasn't anything bad. And for some reason, TikTok, took it down, saying like, it avoids guidelines. I was like, what the hell did I do? I was just being stupid. I don't even think I cussed. I was
Yeah.
just waving a wand at him and taking a card out. Meanwhile, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of tarot readers on TikTok.
It's
That's all
so
I
crazy
did.
with how they censor shit, right? And then you'll see shit on there, and you're like, "This is fucking on here." Like this content doesn't get touched, and people talk about that all the time. They like
Yeah.
pick and choose, right? And there's shit that you're on there, and you're like, "I can't believe this shit's on here." And if like you're gonna censor, then censor fucking everybody and everything. Don't pick and choose and go, "Oh, this girl in the fucking bikini is gonna get us billions and billions of views, which helps the app, so this fucking stays." You know what I mean? It's like, give me a fucking break. Like either censor it or don't censor it. And our accounts leave, like we're on there having fun. Like me and you, our accounts, we're not on there fucking bringing harm to anybody. And
Hmm.
I've had 2 videos taken down, and one was I did a punk one. I was so fucking hyped with it, and I made a joke about the circle jerks, like their name being the circle jerks, and someone reported it. And then I made a black metal one, and I made some kind of joke, and someone's like, and I fucking can't stand when they're like hate speech, like they tag your video as that. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit, right? That's not cool. They love to do that.
Yeah. And at least, like, because I know when they pay you, if you do get paid on TikTok, they take 70% of your money. At least on YouTube, they take 40%. Well, that's through the tip thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the tip thing on my channel. Well, if like I'm pretty sure I don't. But
Yeah.
you have to reach the hours, you have to reach all this, but they only take 40%. They don't take 70% like YouTube does. You know what I mean? But I mean, not
Yep.
YouTube, TikTok, I mean. But
TikTok.
now I remember the question, and we're gonna wrap this up actually with this question. So newer
Okay.
bands that you want to see in coming up. Now, I'm a huge fan right now of the whole trad metal, like newer trad metal coming out from bands like Haunt, Traveler, um, Night, which is the one I posted up, how it sounds similar to the Sailor Moon song. So, which is
Yeah.
funny because one of the band members saw that and he just left like little fire emojis. So I'm like, so what? Are you a Sailor Moon fan and you just don't want to say something?
Yep.
But what are your like bands that more newer that you want to see upcoming in the future?
I'm that I missed the 200 stab wounds just came around here. I really wanted to see that fucking show.
Mhm.
I want to see Gate Creeper. I want to
Mhm.
see Creeping Death. I even want to see Lorna Shore, and I know they get a lot of shit, and Deathcore gets a lot of shit, but
I love Lorna
I'd like
Shore.
to
I
see
like
them
this new
live.
singer.
Me too. Yeah, that was a fucking. I thought that album was fucking sick. Like, I was like, I don't get. I know, and this is the thing I think we were talking about briefly, and I'll be really quick. Is that they're like judging. He doesn't look like what he should look like to be playing that type of music,
So
type of
what?
situation. And I'm like, that's people's fucking problems. They're too judgmental.
Wasn't
Everyone's not going to look like George Corpse Grinder.
Black Dahlia murder? They looked on nerdy
Yeah.
at one point. I didn't imagine them looking like that, but I thought the music was still fine. Not my favorite, but it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, what does it matter? Like, I know when I come on here, I don't look like anything people would imagine. I don't look like the typical girl who's wearing the
Yeah.
denim vest and like wearing all leather, really big hair. I'm a girly girl. I will admit that, with like a little tomboy side of me. I like pretty things, I like luxurious things. I work for it, I pay for it, so why the fuck not? But it's like, so I know like I could be a little too girly, but I also feel like that's what my audience likes about me. I'm not the typical, and I actually do engage whenever they engage back, because a lot of, let's face it, I don't blame some of the women for not talking to anyone because they're probably afraid they're going to get hit on or something. I don't
Yeah.
blame them. I've
Yeah.
gotten that too. But there's sometimes where they are being dicks and won't give anybody a chance. You know what I mean? So, and I do,
Yeah.
like engaging. Some people I've had to block though, because I don't like clingy people. I don't like clingy people, and I don't like being bombarded with too many messages. It gets me, I lose train of, I just get sidetracked and I just
Yeah. And
don't.
people do take that the wrong way sometimes when you're nice to respond and do things like that. And
Mhm.
they get overexcited, and it's like I had to learn that even with stuff I've done or comments I've made on a bit. Like, if a fucking band responds to your comment and you get all excited, it's like you kind of just got to stop now and wait
Yeah.
another time to do a comment. If you start trying to go back and forth, they're not going to be interested in it, right? They're going to be like, and they can't. Like, and even to our defense, is like, it's really fucking tough to get to everybody. I feel bad when one of my videos is blowing up on TikTok and like I can't get to every comment. I'll try and like them, but like it would take too much time. And then I'm always running around this fucking house screaming and fucking making the neighbors insane because like I'm always fucking filming because I wake up with this energy and I go to sleep with this energy. And I just want to have fucking fun. And I think it's just awesome that you do take the time to get to know people, talk to people, respond to things. And like I said,
Mhm.
even this, I really appreciate it because I hadn't done this yet. And I was like, hey, am I going to like to do this? And this was great. So, give yourself a fucking ton of credit for all the stuff you're doing. It's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I know, like just recently, like I usually don't add people on my Facebook, and I added like a couple of mutuals or something like that through other
Yeah.
creators I have on here. And of course, one of them has to send me a message like, hi, like I don't know. We don't know each
No.
other like that. You want to say
Right.
hi, you can put it up on my wall.
Yep.
Okay. No, it's fucking annoying. Like, like I don't know you on that personal level. Even with other like, people that I've added from like the YouTube community, like, it took us a while to like be on that messenger side. You know what I mean? It took us a while, you know, to respect it, you know? And if you are going to send me something to get my attention, it's usually because something we have in common. It's not just hi.
You know, hi. It's like, hi, go fuck. Don't you wish you could like, go fuck yourself? Like, just respond like that.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of fucking hi? Who talk? Like, imagine going up to someone on the street.
I hate it when people say,
hi.
hey, like, what the fuck am I supposed to respond to that? Like, motherfucker, I don't know you. I don't know you
Right.
like that. Like, no.
Hey, you're like, fuck
like
off.
You ain't like, I don't know, an old coworker I had from Kmart or something, right? Something like that. It ain't like that. It's like you're some random fucker who follows this person and who's a fan of this person, but then I decided to be nice, and you know what, give this guy a shot. Maybe he'll be cool or whatever. It's nice to get to know people, and you're just gonna put down hey. At least put down hey. I met you.
You have some of that.
This. Thanks for the ad.
And then I have met some really cool people on there. Like, it is amazing with all this shit. Like, I've met some really nice down to earth people that are respectful too. When they don't cross lines, right? They're just like, this is where I mean, I've had it plenty of times happen, but it's nice when you meet the nice ones. And then even when just that people take the fucking time to like a video I make or say like, that's the greatest thing, or you're like the greatest thing on metal. Like, that feels awesome. And I'm not doing it to like feel full of myself, even though I'm pretty full of myself and don't shut the fuck up. I just like making people laugh and have fun. And I've always been like this because the world is such shit and so much bad shit. And so many people that follow me on TikTok are in abusive relationships or going through some really bad trauma. And it's like, if I could just bring that little fun and then show it to non-judgment. Like, see, I'm fucking bald and wear glasses. Like, go fuck. I don't fucking care though. I'm not going to say you have to look. I'm supposed to have the long hair and always be in Metal Gear. Like a lot of my videos, I'm just in like in a muscle shirt. I just need the fucking muscles. But I'm like, I just don't like when people try to judge people. If you're going to follow somebody, be respectful of them. Like, I'm respectful of you. I'll respond to comments and do video responses, right? And try and make you laugh and have a good time. But especially, it is a lot tougher when you are female on these apps because there's a lot of creepy fucking assholes that it's just not cool. It's just like, what do you like? That's what really, do you think this person's going to fall in fucking love with you or hook up with you because you sent a fucking DM? Like, it's childish, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know. But anyways, like, I think for me to wrap it up, for me, the bands I want to see and hopefully Haunt hasn't, the band Haunt, they're really great. I don't know if you heard of them, but
no, I'll check them out after this.
I'll send you like videos. Trust me.
I was gonna say, can you? Because as you can tell, I can't focus, so I'd probably fucking forget by the time.
No, don't worry. I'll send you a couple albums of a couple bands I like. Haunt and Traveler's a Canadian band. I don't know if they've done U.S. tours yet, but Haunt has been doing a lot of U.S. tours, but they're just never near me. That's the thing. Even though they're from California, they're from SoCal. But I love the guy from the band because it was like a solo project, and he would just have incoming, members. And now he finally has like, a set, like a team now. So I love the guy. I think he's great. He has like respond a couple times to me too. So love the guy. Haunt is a great traditional metal band with the modern sound. So it's great. The other band I want to see, but I don't know when they're going to come to the US. Again, it's a solo black metal extreme band. Oh shit. Sorry if you hear noise. I think my nephew is over there stomping. But anyways, JaxB.TheRipper from Scotland. So the guy, the lead singer, nice guy, follows me back and everything. We've talked from time to time. Real nice guy. I can't wait till they come to the US. It's just I'm waiting on that. Right now he's just doing European tours.
Oh, that's awesome. And
if you want to hear what Venom would have sound like if they would have actually stayed good, that's the band. That's how.
Oh, you gotta send me some links. And my last band before we go is Crypta. Is that, I don't know if you've heard the death metal band Crypta. All girl band, fucking badasses. And I did a video on Instagram and they shared my video and I was like I was like, this is the fucking sickest thing ever. And then I did another picture with me in this shirt and thing. And they were like, fan of the week. Again, I told them I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to people responding. And that band people have to support. They are fucking sick. Yep. I got to go now too. So thanks for having me on. This was
Yeah,
fucking
no,
awesome.
thanks again. And thanks anyone who joined. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Yeah, later. Bye.
Hey, I'll remove you, okay? There. Broadcast.